Welcome back to None of Your Beeswax Apiary. It's the middle of January here in East Tennessee, and there's not much to do outside, but there's plenty of stuff to do inside. So today we've been in here painting bottom boards, putting together boxes and stuff like that we got North American Honeybee Expo last week. But I thought I'd take a few minutes here to talk about getting into beekeeping and beekeeping beginners and stuff like that, because we had a couple people ask us, they want to get started, they're interested and don't know where to begin. So I thought I'd show some things that you need to get started with and explain the best way to get started in beekeeping. The first tip I can provide is look for a local bee club where you're at. Here where we're at in Wartburg, we've got two bee clubs nearby. We've got one in Roan Morgan that meets Tuesday, the second Tuesday of the month, I believe it is, down in Harriman. And the one we're members of is Cumberland County Beekeepers. They meet the last Thursday of the month up in Crossville. A lot of the beekeeping clubs will do beginner courses this time of year. They're free and they're a good way to get started. That's how we got started. The Cumberland County Beekeepers is the first Saturday in March. I believe that's March 7th up in Crossville. It's on their Facebook page if you're local. If you're not local to the area, just look for the local beekeeping club in your area, and they're most likely have a beginner's class here before the spring hits. That's one good thing I recommend to get started right there. And then if you want to read something, we got Beekeeping for Dummies. It's a good book for beginners. It's something to have handy. You can go back and reference during your first year if you have questions. It's easy to get back to and find any answers to questions that you may have. And then for Cumberland County Beekeepers, on our Facebook page, I did post a link for their short course. So if you're local and thinking about doing that, go ahead and check out our Facebook page and see about signing up to do that class there. After you get some knowledge, then you need some basic things to get started. First of all, you're going to need a bee jacket. Some folks choose to wear a whole suit. I don't. I just wear a jacket and veil, and then I wear jeans. But they do make whole suits if that's something that you're interested in. There's two types of veils. There's the fencing veil here, and then there's a veil that's got like a hat and the veil around it. I've had both, and I actually prefer the fencing veil myself. Our first set of bee jackets we got off of Amazon. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get started. You can get stuff like that if that's what you want to do. If you're not sure that you're gonna stick to it or if you're gonna like it, I recommend getting the cheapest stuff until you get started and see if it's something for you. But those jackets work perfectly fine for us the first couple of years. We made 2-3 years out of those jackets before I started getting some tears in it and stuff like that. And I went to a Comfort Pro suit. It's a breathable suit. It's lightweight. It's a little bit cooler in the summertime. It's really good made, good quality. A little bit more expensive than the ones you find off of Amazon, but for us and what we're doing, this was definitely worth the money for us. After you have your suit, you're going to need some tools and some things and some parts for your hive. You're going to need a hive tool. Again, got this off of Amazon. Works perfectly fine. There's all kinds of different hive tools out there. This one's a J-hook hive tool. I like this one. There's a couple different models out there that are a little bit thinner on the hook. And then there's some of the more traditional ones that have a curve right here in the end to pull the frames up with. This is just the one I prefer. It's all about personal preference. Take a look what's out there and see what works for you. You're going to need a smoker. Again, we went with the cheap smoker off of Amazon the first time. Worked perfectly fine for 3-4 years. Bellows wore out, but they're replaceable. So again, take a look what's out there for you. This year we decided to upgrade a little bit. I've done a lot of reading. A lot of folks are real happy with the Day Dance smokers. So we got one of these this year to try out and put it to use and see how we like it. There's some other tools out there that you don't necessarily need, but they're out there if you want to try them or want to use them. One of them is this frame grabber. What you do is you reach down into the hive with this, squeeze it, and pull up a frame that way. I've used this thing once. I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. Some people like them. Some people use them all the time. But personally, I didn't use it. I just used the hive tool to pull up the frames and pull them up by hand. And then this comes in handy. It's a bee brush. I don't use it a lot, but the only time I use it is when we're pulling honey to make sure I brush off all the bees. Otherwise, if I want to get the bees off the frame, I usually just shake them off into the hive. So A lot of sometimes when you buy kits and stuff like that with your smoker and your hive tool, you'll get the bee brush and you'll get the frame puller. That's how we got them. So not necessarily a bad thing, but again, a lot of it's personal preference. So after you get your tools, then you're going to need your hive components. And parts of the hive that you're going to need, that you're going to want to get, are bottom boards. This is what your hive will sit on. There's two different types. There's a screen bottom board like we see right here. We use these a lot. Matter of fact, that's all I use now. And what happens is you've got usually a piece of corrugated cardboard underneath that you slide in and out. You can pull it out for summertime to provide more ventilation, to allow the drop of the wax cappings and the mites and the hive beetles and stuff to fall through the hive. And then you slide this back in for when you're doing like mite treatments, or in the winter time to kind of keep that draft from going up in the hive. They do make solid bottom boards. Some people like them too. I found for us personally that the solid bottom boards aren't as good because, you know, here in Tennessee it's warm, humid summers, and the bees seem to do better with a ventilated bottom board. Plus you got a lot of stuff that gets down in the bottom of that solid bottom board that you got to go clean out, scrape out. It's a little bit messier, so we prefer all these screen bottom boards. We've got a couple solids, but I don't use them anymore. So after your bottom board, then the next thing you're going to get is, and this again is a personal choice, we run deep boxes for our brood. You can run medium boxes. The deep boxes tend to get a little heavy, so some folks prefer to run medium boxes instead of deeps. But you're going to need brood boxes either way. So we run deep, so the deep brood box sits on the bottom board like that. And then in the deep brood box you'll have deep frames. Get these, always pre-wax them. If you get them waxed from the company and stuff like that, that's good. You don't want just the bare plastic because the bees have a harder time. They're not as drawn to it to draw out the wax and stuff like that. So we always get the pre-wax, and then I add some more wax to them. If you're starting out, obviously you won't have the wax to add to them, but I always re-wax them again. So we run 10 frame deep boxes. They do make 8 frames and things like that, a little bit smaller, but we try to run the standard equipment here. So you'll have 10 of these frames in the deep box, and that'll make up the first portion of your hive. Now, I'm ad-libbing all this stuff, so I kind of got thoughts running through my head. So we'll talk about when you get your bees and stuff like that, and how to put them in the hive here in a little bit, but I'm trying to focus on the equipment right now. Once you get your bees, you'll install them in this box, and you'll basically just have the deep box for the beginning of your first year. When your bees grow, you can then make the choice if you want to run double deeps, or a deep and a medium maybe, or if you're running mediums, maybe 2-3 mediums, or whatever to grow from there. But what we do, we run double deeps for our brood boxes, and then we add mediums for the supers. So once the bees fill out this box, when they get to frames 2 and 8, because I said you have 10 frames in here, when they get to frames 2 and 8, you want to add another box. You don't want them to go all the way out to the edges and then wait to add a box, because you'll trigger that swarm impulse, and you don't want them to swarm. So when they draw out and get out to frames 2 and 8, then you want to add your second deep box. And same thing again, you'll have 10 frames in here, and this will be your hive. For us, this is our hive. 2 brood boxes, and then anything above is our honey supers, where we take the honey from, but anything in these 2 boxes we leave for them. Okay, so unstack that. Other parts, the first part of your hive you're going to want to get are inner covers. Again, some folks don't run inner covers. Inner covers for me work for a couple reasons. Our hive top feeders, we use the inner cover to keep the bees out of the feeders and stuff like that. I also think by having an inner cover, it allows a little bit more ventilation circulation through the hive, because you've got a hole right here. These don't come screened. I put the screen on there to keep the bees out. But you've got a hole right here, and then you've got a notch in the front that the bees can use to kind of ventilate the hive and get air flowing through. Again, here in Tennessee, really hot, humid summers helps the bees to dry out the honey, helps them to regulate the temperature of the hive. So I use inner covers, plus it helps keeping that outer cover from sticking to the box, because the bees will propolize stuff. This is a little bit easier to pry off than the outer cover. So On top of your inner cover, of course, you're going to have an outer cover. The outer cover just sits right on top of the hive like that. Like that. Sometimes they're a little harder to get on than others. And so that makes up your hive when you first start right there. One other thing I forgot is an entrance reducer. When you first get your nuke or your package of bees, they're going to be really small, so you want to make sure that they have a small entrance that they have to guard, so they don't worry about other hives that may be nearby coming and robbing them out. So entrance reducer is kind of important. Stick that in front of the hive, and that way it makes it, instead of this big long entrance right there that they have to guard, there's only a small entrance right there that they have to guard. So that's important whenever you're first starting a hive, whenever the hive is small, during periods of robbing in a dearth and stuff like that. You can put these in and they'll help the bees protect the hive better. So another key important component right there. Once your hive starts thriving, of course, like I said, you're going to want to add more brood boxes, and then once they fill out that second brood box, you're going to want to put a honey super on. So to keep your queen from going up into the honey super and laying eggs and brood up in that honey super, you can put on a queen excluder. Some folks don't run queen excluders. We tried it for a couple of years without a queen excluder, tried it with queen excluders. We use queen excluders now. Sometimes the queen will stay down in the box, sometimes she won't. When she goes up in there and lays brood up in the box, then you have to wait for that brood to hatch and then to backfill that with honey before you can extract that. So it's a little bit more of a pain. I don't think it really slows the bees down whenever they're putting honey away. Some folks say the queen excluders slow the bees down. I don't think it does, with the exception of when you're first starting. If you don't have any drawn comb in that honey super, you don't want to put this queen excluder on. You want to just put your honey super on top and let the bees come up and draw out those frames until you get some drawn frames up in that honey super. Otherwise, they won't go through this and draw out frames. So that's the one exception, and the one time we don't use queen excluders when we're trying to dry out boxes of comb. But otherwise, the queen excluder goes on top of your brood box like that, and then our honey super goes on top of that. You can use any size box you want for a honey super. We use mediums. We've also used deeps because that's what we've had at the time with us is a deep box. So we use deeps, but be aware a deep full of honey is going to be between 70 and 90 pounds. So there's a lot of weight there with a deep full of honey. With a medium full of honey, it's about 40 pounds. They also make shallow boxes that are a little bit smaller than this that you can use for honey supers too. So all depends upon your preference. We run mediums for the supers. And then of course you've got medium frames that you put in the super. So there we go. That's all the components to the hive. When we first started, we bought our hive components off of Amazon, relatively cheap. Again, if you're just starting out, not sure if this is for you, or if you just want a couple of hives to do it for yourself, get the cheapest stuff that you can get that works. And I will post the links below for all the stuff that we bought off of Amazon the first time, and I can tell you that all worked perfectly fine for us the first time we got started. And we're still using that equipment, as a matter of fact, today. So that you don't have to go get the most expensive, the flashiest stuff or anything like that to keep bees. It's expensive enough, so cut some costs and some corners and stuff like that where you can. When you get your boxes, if you get the kits off of Amazon, the boxes will be wax dipped, so you don't have to worry about painting them. If you buy them from somewhere else, a lot of times they're just bare wood, so you're going to want to paint them to protect them. We use Oops paint from Home Depot or Lowe's. You can get it real cheap, that's why there's different colors. Just want to get a good exterior paint to paint them so that they last a long time. One other thing I forgot to mention is you're going to need a feeder for your hive, because you're going to want to feed your bees when you first get them to entice them to draw out combs and stuff like that. There's all kinds of different feeders on the market. We did a video that of all the feeders that we use here at the apiary, so I'll post that link down below. You can go check out some of the feeders we use, but all kinds of different feeders out there for you to use. So now let's talk about, you've got all your equipment, let's talk about the bees. So you've got all your equipment, you want to get your bees now. A couple different ways to do that. Here's what I recommend. There's package bees and there's nukes. Originally, when we first started out, we were going to get package bees because they're cheaper. We went to the class at Cumberland County Beekeepers Association and heard them speak and tell us the difference between the two, and we decided to buy nukes. The reason being is when you buy a 5-frame nuke, you're buying 5 frames that are drawn out, the queen's already laying, there's brood, Everything like that's right here in this box, and you just put them in your hive and they're ready to go. When you buy a package of bees, you get exactly what it is. You get a box of bees with a queen inside a cage, and then when you release them into your hive, they have to draw out those resources. You have to feed them, they have to draw out all their comb. They don't have that head start, and it takes a long time for them to grow. They're cheaper, so that's one benefit of them, but it takes them a little bit longer to grow. So again, personal choice. I would personally recommend going with a 5-frame Nuke. I would also recommend, wherever you are, to find a local reputable beekeeper and buy your bees locally. A lot of bees that are ready in our area, that are ready in March and early April, the queens at least come from South Georgia and a little bit further south than we are. There's nothing wrong with them. Our personal experience though, we bought 4 Nukes from 2 different places that had queens and stuff come from South Georgia, and 3 of the 4 queens died on us within the first 3 or 4 months. We were fine, we raised our own queens, they requeened themselves and everything like that. But I would recommend buying from a local beekeeper. The bees are already accustomed to the weather in your area, they're proven from a proven stock in your area, and I feel you just get better bees by buying local bees. If you have any questions, again, bee clubs are the perfect place to start. A lot of times a lot of the members sell splits and Nukes and stuff like that in the spring. If you're local to us and you want one of our Nukes, be sure to let us know. We keep a list every year, and I'd say for this year, I'm probably to the point where I'm going to say it's a wait list. With the orders we've got right now, I think we'll have plenty of bees. I think we'll have some left over, but I don't like to overpromise. So if you're looking right now, contact us. I'll put you on the list, but it may be a wait list sort of thing. And we usually do have a couple people that cancel anyhow, so there's still a good chance we can get you some bees this year if you're looking. So let's talk about what you get when you buy a Nuke. There's a couple different kinds of boxes they come in. These are the Pro Nuke plastic boxes. We use these now. They also are corrugated cardboard jester boxes and another cardboard option box. All are perfectly fine. We use these personally because we get a better deal on them, and we can reuse them, and we use them for mating Nukes and stuff like that too. So they work really good for our purposes. But when you buy your bees and you pick them up, like I said, you'll have 5 deep frames in here, already drawn comb. Should be about 3 frames of brood, a frame of honey and pollen, and another frame of honey and pollen. So you'll have the resources in here, the queen will be in here, she'll be laying, and you've got all the bees and brood, they're ready to go. So you'll just take these home with you and you'll put them in your hive. We've done a video last year of putting a split into a hive, so I'll leave that link below and you can follow that one too. And that's it. There's some basic information, some things you need to get started, and the best ways that we feel to get started. Again, all these products are, there's a lot of different things out there, a lot of different choices. This is what we feel is best for us and what we've chosen to use, and just kind of passing that along to the success that we've had, so maybe we can help you be successful too. None of these have been paid promotions or anything like that for any products. Like I said, this is just our personal choice. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. If you don't like leaving a comment below, you can contact me personally through our Facebook page. I'm happy to answer any questions or anything like that. If there's something else you'd like to see or like us to do a video on, again, leave a suggestion below or contact me personally, and we'll see if we can get that video out to you. Like I said, find a local bee club and get started there. There's a lot of great information and a lot of great people out there that are willing to help. So, like I said, we're willing to answer any questions anybody has and help people get started as well. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and follow us for future videos. Thank you.